Hi guys, welcome back to this channel. I'm very excited to have you here again. And if you are new in this channel, I'm Dr. Kiruga. I'm finance and business coach. And at Board Vision Academy, we share, discuss, and coach on matters of research, finance, accounting, and project management. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and let us grow together in this channel. So today, I'm very happy to share my research experience. And do you know that a research proposal can be rejected by a supervisor or by your academic advisor for various reasons, even if it appears to be very specific, to be very unique and innovative. So here we are going to see some important reasons which most of the time are being ignored, why researcher ignores, and why a research proposal might be rejected. And we are going to see, give you some tips on how to fix them. Let's start. Number one is lack of clarity or focus. Lack of clarity and focus. So why can your proposal be rejected? The research problem or the objectives are too vague or they are broad, making it difficult to understand what the study aims to achieve. So this is a very important point when it comes to research. Many students, even in doctoral studies, they come up with a very vague research problem, too broad, too vague, and it does not have here or there, does not have head or tail, and it becomes very difficult for somebody to understand what this study aims to achieve. So by just looking at your statement of the problem and the objective, they don't make sense. They are so broad, they are so vague. So your proposal might be rejected from that point henceforth. For example, a proposal titled Improving Education in Kenya is too broad. Improving education in Kenya. Is it tertiary? Is it what? Is it technical? Is it primary? Is it secondary school? At which level are you looking the improvement of education in Kenya? So a supervisor might reject it because it lacks a clear focus, such as the impact of teacher training programs on student performance in rural primary schools in Kenya. That is narrow and very specific. That is very narrow and very specific. And out of that, you can be able to drive a very good statement of the problem and objective. Point number two, insufficient justification or very weak significance. The proposal fails to convincingly explain why the research is important or how it contributes to existing knowledge or solve a real world problem. Very important. You might include so many stories and so many things, but when your supervisor or your professor, your academic advisor goes through your justification, he fails to join the statements, to fail whether to see the points that convince him that there is justification why you should do this research. So many of the supervisors or many papers that I have seen, some of them are even published, some of them have done by the students and they have graduated. But when you check the justification statement, it is not here nor there. There is no sufficient justification supported by empirical evidence that this study is going to help in solving the existing problem or to solve a world problem. And therefore, if that study was to be taken and be implemented to solve that problem, it will really be very difficult for it to solve that problem or to contribute. For example, if you have a proposal that titles the role of social media in Kenya politics, it might be rejected if it does not explain how the findings will benefit the policyholder, political parties, or the public. How? Not just stating that this study will benefit the political class. How? You must demonstrate how. So that justification must come out very clearly in specifics that it is going to benefit the policyholders. What specific element are they going to pick from your topic that you have evaluated, analyzed, and is going to benefit them? How? So you must ask yourself how. Yes, it's going to benefit the policymakers, but how? And at what point can they implement that work? So you must give a concrete justification. And if you have now insufficient or weak justification, definitely your supervisor, your professor, or your academic advisor will not allow you to proceed until you correct that mess. Point number 3, very funny, very important, and as it is assumed in so many institutions. But it is a very serious element when it comes to the funding institutions. But when it comes to academic, in most of the cases, it is not taken into consideration. Poor alignment with the supervisor's expertise. Poor alignment with the supervisor's expertise. And I'm very sure every expert in a certain field, for example, let me give a real practical example that you can relate directly. Medical field. Yes, you are a doctor, but there are specific areas that you studied. So if you are to supervise a student, you need to supervise a student well and be focused if you're going to supervise a student within your area. If you're a gynecologist and you're given a student who is doing community health and so many other things in the medicine, pharmacy, how well can you guide that? For example, if you are supervising a doctoral student doing a PhD in community health, and you are internal medicine doctor specializing maybe in psychiatric, how well can you supervise that? So those are the specifics. That is why I'm saying some of these specifics are not taught in our schools, and they are very key. How have you aligned with your expertise with what your supervisor is, or the supervisor who is supervising you? So if a topic does not align with the supervisor, area of expertise, or researcher interests, so it makes it very difficult for them to provide adequate guidance. This is what I'm saying. It makes it very difficult for that supervisor to provide the required guidance. And therefore, we end up saying we are graduating half-baked graduates. Many of the reasons why we do this or happens is because we don't take care of the expertise, experience, or the supervisor's expertise in certain area. So when a supervisor, maybe he rejects supervise a certain student in a certain specific topic, he may be assumed that he is is refusing to do his mandate as a lecturer or as a professor in that university, and he might end up just taking it up, but he might not have the sufficient or adequate expertise and guidance that he is going to give there are not going to be sufficient. For example, an artificial intelligence in healthcare, it might be rejected by a supervisor whose expertise is in rural development or education. So how can I supervise a student who is doing artificial intelligence in healthcare? I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not an ICT expert, I'm just a rural development or education. So that is a very important point, that your proposal might not go very far, because at the end of the day you will present this proposal to the expertise, and the way they will evaluate it is as per the requirement of the specialization of those areas. So if it is not pass the test, and the reason being your supervisor was unable to understand some concepts, you will be done. Point number 4, unrealistic scope or feasibility. So the proposal might be too ambitious, impracticable, given the time, the resources, and the data access availability. You might present a very ambitious proposal or very impractical. You cannot implement it. For example, if you are doing a proposal for undergraduate and the proposal that you are presenting is a proposal that will take another 5 years to be actualized, because maybe the data will be corrected after every year, after every year, after every year, primary data, then how impractical is that? How practical is that? It's too ambitious, yes, but it is also very impractical. You cannot implement based on the resources and the time, and also how you are going to get the data. For example, a proposal on mapping all informal settlements in Kenya. I'm talking about a proposal which will be looking at mapping all informal settlements in Kenya. It might be rejected because it is too large in scope for a single researcher to complete it within a given timeline. Or you require a group of researchers to mobilize resources, their time, and also give more expertise and guidelines on how they are going to collaborate and correct the data and where to get the data. So this one must also be taken care of in your proposal. Look at what you are doing. Is it too ambitious and impractical? So when you present a proposal with such a title, then automatically it will not pass the eyes of your supervisor, the eyes of your professor, the eyes of your academic advisor, because it is unrealistic. The scope is so wide, and based on the timelines and the resources, it is not practical for you to do that. Point number 5, very important, look obvious, but it is the backbone of your proposal. That is weak and inadequate methodology. The reason being, this is where you define, or this is where you tell us how you are going to actualize your plan. So imagine you are failing to tell us how you are going to actualize your budget. For example, you are not giving us the strategy and the method that you are going to use to solve a certain problem. all the ones that you are giving us does not make sense. And this is why it can be rejected. The research design or the methods are not well defined. This is what I'm saying. They are not well defined, inappropriate for the research questions. Some of the students, some of the people doing research, they present inappropriate research designs that are going to be inappropriate for the research questions, or they lack the rigor. For example, a proposal to study the public opinion on climate change in Kenya. Using only online survey, it's unrealistic. It is inappropriate. You cannot be able to solve that problem just using online surveys only. So this is the part that can be ignored, but it is the engine of actualization of your plan. Because a proposal, you are demonstrating a plan, you are telling us what you intend to do. So if it is weak, it is inadequate, does not tell us who you are going to, where you are going to, and how, then automatically your proposal is actually going to be rejected by your supervisor or your proposal, because it does not meet the required standard. Simply because you might have a very good topic and objective, but when it comes to how you actualize that, you don't know. Maybe you are so ambitious, but when it comes now to laying down the plan on how you are going to build this road, you don't know where to start and you don't know what to do. And what you present is very hearsay and things that does not make sense. So it's very important to abide and to know some of these unique points or unique areas that you need to tighten them to ensure that you are going to support them with enough empirical evidence that you have evaluated. Others have also used it and they have demonstrated it is worthy to use it. And then you can be able to convince your supervisor, I'm using this methodology because of A, B, C, D, because the researcher so and so did this in this year, researcher so and so did this in this year, researcher so and so did this year, use almost the same method. So I am using it in modification so that to fit in my work. So you must be very careful on how you are going to present your justification in each of these 5 points that I've given you. So guys, if this video or these sessions has made you come helpful to you, please, you can only help me by liking the video, sharing and subscribing so that the channel can grow. So until next time, let's meet in the next video. Thank you.